Welcome to this video on information sources. My name is Amos and I'll be taking you through another type of sources of information. We started with the primary source and now we shall be heading to another type of source. So we said that there are three types of information sources. We said the first one was the primary source, the second was the secondary source, then the third one is the tertiary source. So in today's video we shall be looking at the secondary source of information, which is the second source after the primary source. So now, what is the secondary source of information? That's one thing you also have to know, the definition of the secondary source of information. We say that a secondary information is one that interprets, analyzes, or summarizes primary source of information or events. So now, if you've gotten a primary source of information, at times you find that it may be too bulky, or you find that it may be too small to give you details about something. Now that will refer you to a secondary source, which will interpret, analyze, or summarize the primary source of information, so that now you'll be able to understand it better. We say that it often provides a broader perspective or critical insight into the primary data. From this primary source, you get the origin of what you want to get. Okay, now in the secondary source, you will be able to get a broader understanding of the information that is behind what you have seen from the primary source. That's what the secondary source will tell us more on. So let's now start with the characteristics of the secondary sources of information. What are these things? What are these specific things that make information to be a secondary source? So one, we say that it is interpretative. So secondary sources involve some level of analysis, synthesis, or evaluation of primary source. So you see that it will talk about, it will mostly be based on information that is already existing, but it will be adding for you some flesh to this information, so that you get a deeper understanding of what this information is all about. It gives a summary of what you have already learned before. So it's also evaluative. They offer opinions or assessments based on evidence that may be drawn from primary sources. You find that, as I told you before, a primary source can be very bulky, or it can be very small compared to expected details of some information. So the secondary source will now offer for you more evidence, or it can also bring a lot of questions that is now in form of the assessment, and people have different ideas based on the primary source that is there, the opinions. It offers opinions or assessment based on evidence that may be drawn from the primary source. So you see how information literacy flows. You start from the primary source, now you're moving to the secondary source, so that you get more information on what you've really missed and what you really want to know. So that's how it is very, very important. So we also say that it's a summary of what you've gotten from the primary source. Now this one I will apply when information you get is too bulky for you to understand. Find that you go to this, maybe you ask different people of the historical origin of a certain group of people. You find that someone will give you a different idea. This one comes and give you something different. This one will come and give you something different. Now when you come and sit down, you put all these things together. So this one will become now the secondary source, because here you've gotten it from the different primary sources. Those are the people that you've asked. So that now that they have given you, now you come back, you sit and compile them, so that they give you what now we call the secondary. Now you become the secondary source because you have collected data from the primary source. So we also say it is contextual. Secondary sources help to frame or contextualize primary data within broader trends, movements, or histories. Now you find that you get a lot of context in the secondary source. You get a deeper understanding of what are the primary sources given for you. That is one thing that you will learn in the secondary source of information. So now you ask yourself, what are the examples of these secondary sources of information? What are they? Now we say one, have essays and reviews. For you to be able to write an essay, for you to be able to put a review of something, meaning you have to first have an information of what you're going to talk about. Because you cannot start writing essay from the blue. You have to first have an idea of what you are writing on. You have to have information of what you are trying to tell people. Then the second one is documentaries. Now let's ask ourselves, these people who act movies, what are they acting? These videos that we watch. So meaning a documentary, for it to come in place, there has to be a source, there has to be a knowledge. Like now, what I'm trying to deliver to you people is a documentary of a primary source. So meaning I've got this information from somewhere that I'm trying to share with you. You see that? I'm trying to share with you, meaning I'm trying to give a summary of what is, I'm trying to break down this thing called information literacy. It has existed for years. People knew it, but now people at times you find that it was not put in the right way for people to understand. So this is what you're trying to do, so that you understand and you follow the right channels. So the journal articles. Let's talk about the newspapers. In a newspaper, something might have happened somewhere. Now, a journalist will come and write a summary of what has happened, so that people will be able to know the information and be able to know what is around them. See, the article is written from something that has happened. Have you seen that? So that is an example of a secondary source of information. Then we have books also. The books that we read. When we are in school, we read very many books to get information. Where are this information coming from? Where did the authors of these books get this information from? They got them from primary sources. You find that a research that has been done by a scientist will be written down by the scientist. Since some of these things are very bulky, then an author will come, pick that research of that scientist, summarize it, so that a student who is studying something alongside with that research will be able to understand it. That is a secondary source of information. And those are the examples. Those are some of the examples of the secondary sources. So you ask yourself, what is the purpose of having a secondary source of information? Just like in primary sources, we say one, it is the purpose is to be a contextualization. Okay, so one, what do you get from this term contextualization? We say that from one of the characteristics. So you find that it gives us a lot of information. It broadens our understanding of something that we have known little of. So if you've known something small about let me say about a tribe, you've known something that's small about them. So when you go to a secondary source, you will get more details about them. You can go to books, you refer to journals, you get so many things about them, so you'll be able to know. So you also have interpretation and analysis. So the secondary source will help us to interpret and analyze something that we have little knowledge on. Because now, if you have a history of let's say some group of people, when you sit down and read it from a book, you will be able to interpret some of the things that you've known, maybe the characteristics. If they say that they behave in this way, you'll be able to now get and interpret, to know the meaning of those things from a secondary source. You'll be able to analyze and get them from a secondary source. So it builds more on the primary source. So the other thing is a broader understanding. So it is the secondary source that gives us a lot of information on the primary sources of information. It gives us more information so that it broadens our understanding. So in conclusion, we say that a secondary sources interpret, analyze these primary sources, offering a broader context, critique, or synthesis of the information. You get a lot of information from the secondary source compared to the primary source. Why? Because in the secondary source, you'll be able to analyze, you'll be able to get a broader context, you'll be able to synthesize information so that you'll be able to build on information that you've gotten from the primary source. That's why it is very, very important to have all these sources of information so that you become someone who has a lot of information, and we shall be able to call you an information literate. So thank you once again for watching. Please, if you find this video helpful, subscribe, like, and share so that others who will also who have not known about this channel will be able to follow and get more details on how to evaluate information, how to get information, how to go about with any information that you've gotten. So I'm still Amos, and we are still continuing to learn about information literacy. Thank you. Bye bye for now. Catch up in the next video.